From Chetwynd, I'm Jeff Blagden.
And I'm the Dub.
And this is the Podvault. Crap. I told myself that I was going to get my phone ready and have it on and ready to go when this started. And then you know what I did?
Didn't have it on already.
Well, I did, and then I turned it off and started.
Why?
Not my phone. I didn't turn my phone off. I just, closed the thing that I wanted or whatever. Anyway, you know what? Local celebrity, the Dub, here in-house.
Local, indeed.
Right? Is there any term more insulting than local celebrity?
Oh, right. Local celebrity. You're
Right.
you're the dregs of humanity if you're a local celebrity.
If you're a person who's in a position to be introduced using the word celebrity at all, and then they throw local in front of it, it just saps your spirit.
Especially if there's other real celebrities there. So
Right.
if it's say it was me and I don't know, George.
Ian Thornley.
Yeah, me and Ian Thornley here, right? You call me a local celebrity and Ian Thornley's here. It's just twist the knife again, pal.
Right?
Thanks. Ian fucking Thornley's here. And just remind everybody that I'm here only because I'm a local celebrity. And you didn't have enough money for somebody better.
This is local celebrity, the Dub, and the entirety of Bare Naked Ladies. Let's go.
Exactly. Though I kind of look like Stephen Page.
Who are celebrities only in Canada.
Yeah, right?
As soon as they're outside of Canada, everyone's like, what? Or fans of Community.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah, but even then, they're just the Community fandom's sort of insular, isn't it? So,
Yeah, we
there's
don't really
fans.
get out much, the Community fans. We just kind of sit on our couches and watch Community. And
I think when 1 week came out that BNL were maybe a little more world famous because that was a huge hit, but that was it. Outside of Canada, nobody knows other songs by them, I think.
There's the Big Bang Theory theme song, but
Yeah.
I feel like most people don't know that is Bare Naked Ladies, and they just
Right. Canadians would be like, "Oh yeah, that's Bare Naked Ladies," but outside of Canada, they're just like, "Oh, that's the Big Bang Theory theme song."
Right.
They don't know who did it or care.
Right.
There might be the odd person who's like, "Is that by the same people who did 1 week?"
we don't, as Canadians, we don't even need that thing at the end that says theme song by Bare Naked Ladies. We're just like, holy crap, that's the Bare Naked Ladies.
They're instantaneously recognizable in this country.
Right? We just know who the Bare Naked Ladies are, as I'm sitting here constantly adjusting levels to try to make this not sound awful. So you're going to be listening at home and you'll just hear we're
surfing an audio wave.
Throughout the first 2.5 minutes. Instead of surfing USA, surfing audio wave.
I'm not going to try and sing that.
No, it's probably
because that would throw your levels off again if I put on my singing voice.
Right, it's probably for the best that I don't do that. So last time you were on the podcast, I opened with a story about the gym and working out. I'm going to open with kind of a similar story, as it also relates to weights and me being pissed off with humanity. Just as the last one did. So, I guess, how should I start this? So, I went to Fort St. John, which nobody that's listening to this has any idea where that is. No, it's not a fort.
No.
It is a city.
It was
indeed.
once upon a time a fort, I'm assuming. Otherwise,
Maybe.
why would they call it Fort St. John?
I don't know, man. Why do they...
If you care, it is further north even than Chetwynd is.
That's going to help them.
Chetwynd
they don't know where Fort St. John is, but they know where Chetwynd is.
Chetwynd is north BC. This is further north BC.
Right? This is, yeah. Anyway, so I went there because they have an actual population, and where we currently are.
They have stores other than...
They have a mall. There's a mall there.
Well, they don't have a mall here, so that's amazing.
That's what I mean. They have a mall. There's a movie theater that plays more than one movie, so it's...
At a time?
Yes, yeah.
So they have more than one screen?
They have more than one screen there.
Wow.
That's right.
That's like civilization.
It's not a Cineplex, but... I mean...
No, but to have double the amount of screens that we have in Chetwynd.
I think they have 4, actually.
Holy cannoli.
Cannoli. All right, Grandma.
Did you see me give up halfway through? I was
holy
kid.
I'm going to say cannoli on air.
I'm not going to say this.
Can't think of anything else. Fuck it.
What a disaster.
So I was in said mall shopping. And, I wasn't really shopping because I didn't buy anything. But
do you know the name of the mall? Is it the Fort St. John Mall? Or do they have another mall?
I think it does have a name, but I can't remember it at the moment. It's not the Fort St. John Mall. There is a name.
Okay.
But I can't remember.
So I think at Dawson Creek, which is another city that's kind of close to us, they have a Dawson Creek Mall, and that's it.
They probably think we're talking about...
No. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
We're not going to open that door. I heard this rumor that apparently the city considered calling themselves Dawson's Creek.
I'm pretty sure that was like the equivalent of an Onion article.
It might be. I mean, everything I read on the internet is true to me, so it might have been an Onion article. Or whatever the northern BC version of the Onion would be.
The snowfall? I don't know.
The peace onion?
The mountain... The grizzly bear?
The Funyun? I don't know.
Funyun. I don't know. But what I do know is I was pseudo shopping in this place. Window shopping, I guess, really.
Yeah. And, you weren't sure what you were going to get. You were just, I'm going to have a look.
It was burning time. As you do in a mall. There was this relatively large, for the place that it was, sports store, I guess you call it, like a Sports Check, but not incorporated.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's this sports store, and I went in there because I wanted a pair of shorts that had a drawstring as opposed to the ones, that you have for 30 years, and I'm not 30 years old, so whatever, but you have for a long time, and the drawstring just comes out in the washer and drying machine, and it's gone now for eternity.
The worst.
So like your shorts, whenever you wear these things, are super loose. You can't wear them in public. You can't do anything in them. What's the point in having shorts if you can't be active in them?
Exactly.
Right?
Also, it's uncomfortable to be wearing an article of clothing around your waist that you're afraid is going to fall down to your ankles at any time.
An article of clothing around your waist that could fit around your shoulders. Like it's
that too.
Right? It's a subconscious thing, really. But yeah, so I was looking for shorts. I didn't buy any shorts because they were all really expensive, but we're not ragging on pricing of shorts in the piece here, which need to go down.
That's for another podcast.
But I am going to talk about pricing of something else because while I was in there, they were selling weights. Hence the whole workout thing. See, we're going around to it here. So they were selling weights, and I went up and looked at the weights, not because I was interested in purchasing weights in any way, but because something caught me off guard. So, what's half of 30?
That would be 15, Jeff.
Right.
That's correct, right?
Right.
Okay, just making sure.
That's right, yeah. So, they had weights that were 30 pounds. Yep. They were on sale for $48.
Okay.
And they had weights that were 15 pounds.
They should be, by process of elimination, holy cow, they should be $24.
Right.
Or maybe a little more, because maybe they're like, they want you to buy the higher priced weights, right?
Nah, $15 for the 15-pound weights, $48 for the 30-pound weights. I was like, how does this make any sense? Like, what?
Was there any difference in the materials used to construct the weights? Was one like, I don't know, wood, and the other one was platinum?
Wood. 30-pound wood weights.
Might be pretty big, but anyway.
This is ebony. It's
exactly right. It's a heavy wood.
Heavy wood. No, they were both identical. They were the metal bar, rubber on the ends, so you can set them down and not scratch your floor.
Yeah.
Doing a great job of sales there. They should sponsor us.
We didn't say their name, though.
Yeah, I don't even know what the company was.
You just said, I'm sure somebody listening from Fort St. John might be able to figure out who you're talking about.
Oh, we got a caller on the line right now, actually. They're working at John's Sporting Goods in Fort St. John.
Poor John.
Yeah.
Just a guy trying to make a living, and here we are ragging on his ass.
True.
On a podcast.
To be fair, there might not be a John's Sporting Goods, so maybe we're making him sound better than he is.
Maybe.
Right? Maybe he's really just I don't know. I don't want to
Maybe
insult
he's really
John
proud of the fact that he does that.
Maybe he's really proud of the fact that he doesn't own a sporting goods store.
Well, there's that, but I mean the guy, the store we're talking about, maybe he's really proud of the fact that he's like, you know what? I sell weights for this much, and then I'm more than double the price to sell weights that are more than double the size. And I get away with it. Like, I'm winning at life and sales.
And I would have gotten away with it if it was for you damn podcasters.
He's a Scooby-Doo villain.
Right?
But in the sales world.
So yeah, there was that kind of threw me off, and that's what drew me in to look at these weights. But the thing that really pissed me off, that I'm going to complain to John about directly, I guess.
John, the
guy.
reason the town is named Fort St. John is for John.
Is he a saint, though?
I don't know.
It takes a lot to be named a saint.
I don't think someone would be a saint if they charge $15 for 15-pound weights and $40 for 30-pound weights.
$48 for 30-pound weights.
But anyway,
stupid.
I digress.
More than triple the cost.
Right?
Makes no sense. Anyway, so I'm standing here looking at the prices on these weights. As I said, not really interested in purchasing weights, just more confused. I had to get I had to double check, right? I had to be like, am I reading this properly? Is this how it really is? And this guy, who presumably works there, since, he was wearing a name tag. Maybe he's just a weirdo, walks around places wearing name tags. But anyway, he walks up to me, looks at me, looking at this 30-pound weight and examining the price tag on it, and goes, "Sir, there's lighter weights over here if you want." I was like, "What? Hold up."
What a dick chin.
Well, I wasn't going to purchase weights in the first place, but now...
now I'm going to doubly not purchase weights from you.
The joke's on you, because now I'm not going to buy any weights. Who...
I mean, okay, let's for a moment try and play out his side of this story, right? Like you approach a customer, you sell weights, you're in a sporting goods store. What do you think the smartest thing would be to say to someone if you take a look at them and you're like, he's a weakling, he's not going to be able to lift these weights. Perhaps I should steer him towards something where he wouldn't hurt himself, right?
Yeah.
Would you put it that way? The lighter weights are over here, or would you be like, "Oh, sir, we've got some great specials on these weights over here. Would you like to have a look at them?" And then, maybe not open with the fact that, you look like you couldn't handle these weights. What the hell are you doing?
And on top of that, it's 30 pounds, man. It's not like I was looking at 50-pound weights or something.
Those are probably $190, by the way, by
True.
the stupid math that he does.
Right? But
Stupid John.
How just quickly the whole demeanor turned around there towards our non-existent sporting goods store owner.
St. John Sporting Goods or whatever.
St. John in Fort St. John. The sporting goods store used to be a fort. They built the entire town around a sporting goods store.
That sporting goods store has been there since the Hudson's Bay Company found Fort St. John. Okay, well, let me bring this back. They didn't find it. I don't want to insult anybody, perhaps a native Canadian, but you know what I'm saying. Since the Hudson's Bay Company came and established Fort St. John, they started it with a sporting goods store.
Well, they found the fur coats.
Yeah, because that's how the fur trade. You walked into them. You're like, "Oh, look at there's fur coats everywhere. I bet we could sell these.
Let's bundle them, guys. Come on. Let's sell us some fur coats. We can maybe get some marbles out of it." That was okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that joke at all. I apologize.
For marbles, really? They never mind. I'll explain it later. I'll explain it later. I'll explain it when we're not,
okay,
capable of offending somebody by explaining it. So I figured since this is our second time having you on the show, that we might as well get to know the dub a little better.
Okay.
So I prepared a game. It's 20 questions with the dub.
Oh, I love games.
So we're going to use these questions to get to know you a little better. Here's how it's going to work, all right? I'm going to throw out the first 10 of them now. And we're going to take a break, and we're going to do other 10 later.
Okay.
But I'm going to throw out the question, and you're going to have to give me the quickest answer that comes to mind.
Oh,
so
man.
The first answer you can think of for the question.
All right.
Help our audience.
It's rapid fire.
Decide who you are better. Exactly. Rapid fire, 20 questions with the dub, split into 2 segments of 10 questions each. They get harder as they go.
Okay. All right. I'm as prepared as I can be.
So the first question, 906 times 12. No.
Oh, God.
4. So the first question, favorite fictional athlete?
Fictional athlete. Matt Rudy.
All right.
Wait, but he's not fictional.
I mean, yeah, true. It's based on.
I guess the way I'd explain away this, and already we're ruining the fact that it's supposed to be fast, would be the way he's portrayed in the movie Rudy. He's my favorite fictional actor. Right. Because I'm sure he's not exactly that way.
Not many people know that he never actually played in a game.
What?
Yeah, no, the movie portrays him as playing at the end of that game, but in reality, the real Rudy never played in a game.
He dressed for one game.
He dressed for the last game, and then he never got into the game.
But then in the movie...
And then they show him as, like, he goes in, he makes a tackle.
He plays, like, a couple downs, anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
Rapid fire.
Right? Number 2, favorite sea creature.
Sea urchin.
Number 3, favorite fictional sea creature.
Leviathan. Which is so many things.
Number 4, best Benedict Cumberbatch nickname.
Oh, that's Bonder Dick Cumbersnatch.
5, favorite Franco brother.
Oh, sorry, bud. I like James.
You gotta go with Tom, man.
Or Tom, yeah.
Number 6, most embarrassing fingernail.
Embarrassing I'd say on my big toe.
All right.
My toes are ugly.
7, fox or ferret.
Ferret.
8, most raccoons ever seen at one time.
I don't think I've ever actually... Is this... I'm fucking ruining this. Like, does it include fictional raccoons? Because I don't think I've...
Well, question number 9 is actually most fictional raccoons seen. No, I'm joking. No.
That's true story. I don't think I've actually ever seen a raccoon in my life that wasn't fictional. Like the raccoons on CBC. I saw that. But I've never seen raccoons. Can you believe that?
There's a show called The Raccoons on CBC?
Yeah, it might have been, not to give away our ages, it might have been a little before your time.
The Raccoons?
It was called The Raccoons, and it was on CBC. And
was it like a documentary?
No,
I'm picturing like David Attenborough being
it was for kids. It was a cartoon show. You could see it after school when I was growing up.
And the raccoon goes to his natural habitat of the garbage pail in Toronto.
No, they fought an enemy. His name was Cyril Sneer. I don't remember what he looked like, a blue aardvark or something. Anyway, you can look that up.
They fought Arthur. They just
since Arthur got his own show later, you could guess who won.
Arthur was actually a spin-off of the Raccoons on CBC.
Arthur on PBS. Anyway.
Well, there you go. Number 9. Now, here's where we get controversial. Can gargoyles fly?
Yeah.
See, I say they just glide.
Oh, so you don't think they flap their... What constitutes flying? Like flapping of wings and...
Like being able to get higher.
So gargoyles have to climb to their spots.
Yeah, and then they slowly fall by gliding. At least on the cartoon Gargoyles.
Fair enough.
Which is where I get all of my information on everything in life.
Yeah,
really.
It's cartoons.
I just live my life by the specific cartoon Gargoyles.
Just Gargoyles.
Like that's everything I've ever lived or wanted to be or done in my life is based off of the cartoon Gargoyles.
I mean, you know who did a voice on Gargoyles, right?
Everybody?
Well, that too, but our hero, Riker himself.
Did he really?
I'm pretty sure Jonathan Frakes was a voice on that show.
That would make sense because he kind of looks like a gargoyle.
That gargoyle would put his leg up over chairs and stuff.
He had a goatee.
Yeah, he
really
had an
kick-ass
awesome
beard. And just all right. And number 10, best Joker.
Oh, that would be Mark Hamill.
There we go, Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
but if we did go live action,
it would be Jack Nicholson.
Same boat as me.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen one I don't like, but favorites.
Leto. Or have you not?
Well, I never saw. I heard that was a dumpster fire, so I didn't bother.
Yeah.
I take my cue from Metacritic. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be like, I want to see this movie, and then if I read a bad review of it, I'm like, I don't want to see it anymore. I'm bad for that,
man.
Yeah, I'm a fucking hipster. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen a lot of the animated movies, but playing, what was the first Batman? Not Arkham Asylum. Was it Arkham Asylum? There was all these Batman games. Anyway,
I don't know if it was the first. It was the first of the Arkham series. Yeah.
Is that well? Anyway, I played that, and then I found out later, while playing, I was like, boy, this guy's Joker's awesome. And then that's fucking Luke Skywalker. It's like, you're kidding. And then I found out he'd been doing it for a while. I was
like the animated
he's the best
series
by far.
Yeah.
He's unreal.
It's the voice you think of when you think of the Joker.
It is now, definitely.
Right?
And I liked Heath Ledger's Joker, but man, Mark Hamill's is fucking awesome.
Right?
And again, I haven't seen a lot of the animated movies, but I would just to hear Mark Hamill's Joker more, right? Anyway.
Speaking of nightmares, I've been watching so many sitcoms lately for some reason that my dreams have essentially become just sitcom versions of my life. So it's just my life, but with a laugh track.
Yeah. What sitcoms have you been watching?
Oh, fuck. Just I don't know if I want to say them over the air. I don't know if I want to do that to myself, put myself through that online ridicule of stating what sitcoms I've watched. But okay, I was never really I've never really been into sitcoms as they've been airing, unless you, again, classify Community as a sitcom. Mm-hmm. Then I was kind of into that while it was airing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've never religiously watched a sitcom while it was on the air. I watch them while, like, I like sitcoms, but I usually watch them because I have nothing else to do and it's on Netflix and I'm like, hey, there's 10 seasons of this show because it's a fucking sitcom and they never cancel them. So I just watch that and I'm like, oh yeah, I just binge watched the entire fucking series in a week. But like that's how I come across sitcoms. So it's like they're all older ones that nobody else is still currently watching. The other exception of that is, of course, I wouldn't classify it as a sitcom either. It's hard. Like, I get sitcom is like, what is it? Situational comedy?
I guess.
Is that what it means? So I guess. See, I don't know though, because if you go by that.
Well, that's the thing. The trope of a sitcom is the canned audience.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched. They are, but they aren't. Like, I enjoyed 30 Rock and The Office and Community. I don't think of them the same way as I think of Seinfeld or Friends or How I Met Your Mother, because they have the quote-unquote live audience, right? They're different. The angles of the cameras are almost always the same in every show, right? Because it's just three walls, right? Whereas, I mean, I guess that happens in Community a bit when they're in the main study room or whatever. But they explore space differently than a sitcom does. Whereas a sitcom's always like, it's like live theater. You're watching live theater on many different stages at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so I'm looking it up to see what classifies as a sitcom. It is situational comedy. I nailed that one. Genre of comedy centered on a fixed set of characters who carry over from episode to episode. Like that. How do you get more vague than that?
That's everything that's funny on television.
Sitcoms can be contrasted with sketch comedy, where a trope may use new characters in each sketch, and stand-up comedy, where a comedian tells jokes and stories to an audience. Sitcoms originated in radio, but today are most found on television. Great.
So I guess by that definition, every show I listed is technically a situational comedy,
right?
Because it isn't a sketch show like SNL or Broad City or shows like that are on Comedy Network.
Yeah, I don't like.
That's the thing. Like, television's in comedy is dominated by this sitcom and has been for name a year.
Well, since Seinfeld, pretty much.
I'd say even before that.
Really? I don't know. I feel like Seinfeld is the first time anyone started using the word sitcom.
Maybe, but that trope of like, let's have a funny family or funny group of people that we meet every week,
so like I Love
filmed
Lucy.
in front of a live audience, that has been happening. Like you said, it originated in radio, but that has been happening throughout television's history. And that's like, and certainly since the era you're mentioning, that's most of what comedy on television is sitcoms.
Let's see what the first show classified as a sitcom was. Apparently it's a show called Pinwright's Progress.
Oh, yeah.
From the UK.
Loved that show.
1946. Pinwright's Progress. Is that like the unincorporated town of Progress?
I don't know. Or it's making fun of Pilgrim's Progress.
Do you know the unincorporated town of Progress?
Yeah, you drive through it on the way to DC.
It's like 9 buildings, and they're just
Doesn't
How do you
look like
incorporate a town?
doesn't look like they've made a lot of progress in incorporating.
I want to build a couple of buildings just beside it and then put up a sign that says anti-progress. And just
Wait, wouldn't that be? And I'm by no means advocating for this. This is a joke. But wouldn't that be anti-progress? Be like setting the whole town on fire?
Well, yeah, no, like we're anti-progressional. We're against anything that progresses anything. It's just
You're like the Republican Party.
we have the worst Wi-Fi ever because you try to load something and it sits on the loading bar.
Oh, that would be the worst.
It doesn't progress at all.
That's literal hell.
Right? It'll just sit there
Well,
and you have to stare at the loading bar. And that's what we do for entertainment in anti-progress. We stare at loading bars.
I'll be progressive right now. That's literal hell for us two white males living in a first world country.
Right?
Is a Wi-Fi bar that never...
Especially each going from a big-ish city to come to a town of 2,600 people where the Wi-Fi is already much slower.
Yeah. Like if it just never fully downloaded.
Like if I open Facebook and it takes more than a split second to open, I get angry.
Yeah, it's like what's happening?
I get physically angry.
Like come on, god damn it,
Like,
hurry up!
Today I was trying to refresh weather on a computer, and I got physically angry that it wasn't refreshing from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock quickly when it was 8:07. I was like, why am I mad?
I laugh because I understand.
Right?
I get irrationally mad about those things all the time.
Right? When the fucking weather doesn't update, it's like, fuck. You're supposed to update every hour on the dot. No.
Or like I'm trying to play Battlefield 1 and it won't connect online and I'm like, God damn it!
Right?
Just connect already! I've been sitting here for 30 seconds!
My favorite is when I'm on like my Xbox or something and I'm trying to connect and it has an issue connecting, but I'm not even about to play an online game. I'm just so upset that it's not connected that this now becomes my thing. Like it's no longer about the game. It's now about making sure that my Wi-Fi connects to my Xbox.
You can't abide by the fact that your Wi-Fi isn't connected.
Right?
You just can't.
You can't do that.
I wouldn't be able to sleep or eat until I know that I'm online and I'm connected.
Like if I woke up in the morning and I looked at my phone and the Wi-Fi signal wasn't on, and I couldn't get, I would call into work and be like, I'm not coming in today. Right. And they'd be like, why? I'd be like, my Wi-Fi. And they'd be like, oh, okay.
I mean, I'd immediately get up and be like, oh, I got to deal with this.
Right?
Like it's just Wi-Fi. Who cares?
There's not
right?
a whole lot of things that can pull me out of bed like that. But my Wi-Fi not working, noticing my Wi-Fi isn't working, even if I'm not using it, just noticing it's not working, I will be out like
it's
that.
Like, oh, I gotta fix this.
Right?
Why isn't the insert internet provider's name here making this better for me?
Right? And
I pay X dollars a month for this. Come on.
Especially in Canada.
Yeah, hey.
But that's
a whole other thing.
That's getting completely off topic.
9,000 gigabytes a month, just $10. You're like, what? Come on, United States. Why can't we have it here?
Right?
Meanwhile, here it's like 500 megabytes.
So it's a monopoly here.
$400 a year. And you're like, come on. Anyway, I don't know where I got that number from.
Because we only really have like 3 service providers here, and everyone else just piggybacks off of them. So.
And unless you're in the 3 gigantic urban centers where, they're not even. It's not like the prices are better there.
Toronto, Vancouver,
Montreal.
Oh, Montreal. True. Yeah.
I know you're not a big fan of Montreal.
Not.
We're not going to get into that.
I wasn't thinking of Quebec.
Fair enough.
I was thinking of Canada.
So, where the hell did we get? Where did we come from to get to here?
We were talking about sitcoms.
Oh yeah,
and the fact that I've watched so many sitcoms lately that it's just engrossed my dreams.
It's just good background noise too, right? Like you're doing something else.
You don't have to pay attention.
No.
Yeah.
You hear the joke, you're like, Ted, and then you go back to what you're doing.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Classic Rick.
Yeah. That's a good
Notice
one.
How they
Chili.
all have super basic fucking names too.
Of course.
Like nobody has a complicated name in a sitcom. It's never like this is Rocktar.
Rocktar, a sci-fi sitcom. Has there been a sci-fi sitcom?
I mean, Seth MacFarlane's trying.
Yeah. I'm 4 episodes into that, and I still don't know what he wants it to be.
I still don't know whether or not I like it. Like, I'm watching it, I'm like,
the sci-fi stuff's like, this is all right. But then every once in a while, there's like a sort of stupid Seth MacFarlane joke thrown in that I laugh at. I'm like, that's funny. But it's like I'm watching 2 different shows at the same time.
Right.
And like the Scott Grimes character, who's the guy piloting the ship, his navigator It's like they're in their own show where they're just the comedic like relief, and then everyone else is actually like dealing with this science fiction world.
Why does everyone always use the pilot for the comedic relief?
I don't know.
Like, I feel like the pilot should probably be the least like comical person on the. Like, if I'm looking for a pilot for my spaceship and he's funny as shit, he's out. Like, I'm not hiring that guy because I don't want the guy who's funny to be piloting the ship.
Well, if not the pilot, then who?
I don't know. Someone in engineering.
Yeah.
The doctor.
Well, the doctor's good, and Bones
Doctor's
was good comic relief on Star Trek, the original series, and in the movies.
Doctors, I feel like doctors aren't traditionally funny people though, unless it's like dad jokes.
Yeah.
I feel like doctors can't really be funny though. They don't really get put in a situation where they can be funny. Like, what are you gonna do? Walk up. So, we got to remove your lymph nodes.
Well, that was MASH, right? I don't know if you ever saw MASH.
I've seen
Hawkeye was
episodes,
hilarious, but then they make a joke about this on Futurama when there's a Hawkeye robot and he has a switch on the back that switches between irreverent and maudlin, and that's like the character of Hawkeye. He'd be making a joke, and then 10 minutes later he'd have some monologue about how war is awful, right?
But, like, think about it. If you're sitting in a doctor's office and the doctor comes in and starts cracking jokes, I'm going to be like, fuck you, man.
Like the doctor on Family Guy.
Right? I'm just going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Just, like, I want to leave here. Tell me what's wrong so I can go home. Stop fucking joking. Like,
doctors in sitcoms are always funny. But
right?
They're in a sitcom.
But sitcoms have to contrast with life, which brings me back to the fact that having a sitcom as a dream of your own life is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah,
because it's just, you're doing things that you normally do, but for some reason there's someone fucking laughing about it where you can't see them. And it's, I don't know, it makes you feel real insecure about yourself.
I understand, like if I fall down the stairs and there was a laugh track about it, I wouldn't be happy about it at the time.
Right?
It's funny later. You're like, I fell down the stairs like an idiot.
Right?
But when you do it, you'd be like, fuck you. You get all angry because you hit your head or something.
Now, actually, I kind of want to see a sitcom like that, where it's a sitcom, but none of the characters realize it's a sitcom. But, like, they can hear the laugh tracks and the clapping and all that stuff.
Oh, that's damn meta, my friend. Holy cow. Because obviously, if we want to discuss this further, the philosophy of sitcoms, none of the characters realize they're in a sitcom, right? But if they did, and they're like, oh, what? Like, it's like Gary Shandling's show or something like that, where he knows he's on a show, but none of the other characters do somehow. Right? Anyway.
Like, something sad will happen, I was like, oh, and I'll be like, fuck you, man. Like,
by the way, if you liked the Gary Shandling show reference, drop Jeff a line and let him know that you liked it. But remember who said it. I'm kind of proud of myself.
Were you trying to get those whatchamacallit? Fuck. What's the word I'm thinking of?
I'm not quite sure.
I guess reimbursed from the.
Like a royalty payment for mentioning it.
A royalty from the Gary Shandling show.
No, just as you like to say, fucking hipsters. I want the hipsters to be like, I know the show he's talking about, and then us to have a little talk about it.
Didn't he die last year?
Yeah, he did. That's too bad. He's pretty darn funny. Yeah. Did you ever see like the Larry Sanders Show? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that show.
Oh, I know who Gary Shandling is.
Oh yeah, he was in a pretty funny episode of the X-Files because him and David Duchovny were pals.
Right. Yeah. No, I know who he is. I just Anyway,
before that, he did Gary Shandling's show, which was this weird like meta sitcom where he knew he was on a show and he like talked to the audience and then stuff would happen.
Right. Anyway, hipsters. So I was walking yesterday. That's it. That's just the story. I was walking and this like out of nowhere. Okay, first off, I'm gonna little diatribe here. I'm fucking pissed off now that no dogs here have leashes. Like, nobody puts their dogs on leashes in this town.
Do, but I take my dog out for a pee in the front yard, and there's like they're roaming around. It's like they run the town here.
They'll just run around their yards and bark at you, and I'm like, fuck this. I don't know if this thing's gonna attack me or not. It sounds mean. Like, what? This is a huge dog standing in its lawn, no leash. There's no one around it, just barking its ass off at me. I'm like, fuck. I'll turn around. Like, guess I can't go on this street. I guess I'm not going grocery shopping today.
Right.
Like,
and it's not like they're little dogs either. Like, there was one night I was walking, not to ruin your story here, but I was walking home at night from like the Chevron down the street or something, and a pit bull walked by me. I was just, oh, hey. I was like, you're a pit bull.
Yeah, like,
you're not on a leash. I just blew me away. He almost got hit by a car. It was kind of sad. The guy stopped, and the pit bull like kind of looked at him and then kept walking. I was like, this pit bull looks like he does this every night. He's like, got time for a walk, and then leaves for half an hour and comes back.
Right? Fuck. It's just, I don't know. I'm annoyed by it. But I was walking, and this dog comes out and I have my headphones on. I'm listening to a podcast. I'm not going to say the name of it because I'm not going to drive traffic to other podcasts.
Fair enough. Was it This American Life? No.
This is the favorite podcast of people who make podcasts. So I'm walking up the street, and I've got my headphones on, and this dog just comes out and starts barking at me, but it's a small dog. So I'm like, see, I would say less afraid, but really I'm kind of more afraid because like they're generally more aggressive.
They can be,
little
definitely.
Dogs. Like the big dogs could do more damage, but the little dogs are just pissed off way easier. Like they have some kind of Napoleon complex. Or something.
Absolutely. They're like, hey, notice me, and then they just get all up in your grill. So
it runs up to me out of nowhere. I don't even know where it came from. It's this little white dog. It's really well groomed, so it's not like a stray dog, and it had a collar. Like, I'm not going to bend down and check the collar of this random dog, but it had a collar, so I know it's owned by somebody. And it just starts following me. And, like, it was barking at me. And, like, following me in the way that little dogs do, where they, like, run around you in circles and shit, right?
Because they can.
So I'm walking up the street, and the whole way, this thing's running around me in circles. Every now and then, it'll stop to bark at one of the other random dogs that are off their leash in the yard. and I'll get, like, 10 meters ahead of it or whatever, and I'm like, okay, it's gone, and then up around me again, running around me and walking beside me and shit, and I'm like, I mean, okay, this is kind of weird, but then I got like, I kind of got used to him being there. Like I'd gone down like 4 different streets. I was like we're talking like a half an hour's worth of walking, and this thing's still following me. And then I turn around and start walking back and it's still following me the whole way past where it joined up with me too. So, and then like all of a sudden, like I look down at my phone to change my podcast, and I look up and it's gone. And I was
I'm done.
Right? I was like, oh, I'm kind of sad now. I guess I feel like I just lost a part of me.
Your canine companion departed.
Right? Like this little fucking dog just started following me. I don't know where it's from. Don't know its name. Do
you know what kind of dog it was? You said it was a small dog.
Dogs. It was a little thing. It was white, fluffy.
Yeah.
One of those things where the tail is always stuck up.
Oh yeah. I wonder if I recognize said dog, but I don't. I don't know that one. I know that pit bull. Just out walking around by himself or herself. I don't know.
Is it a white pit bull?
I thought it was brown with white spots.
Oh, yeah.
But again, I saw it at night the couple times I've seen it. So
it's not the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of one that's white with a couple brown spots that I've seen around.
Maybe I did see the same one, and I'm just mixing up the colors. What was the dominant color? Was it brown with white or white with brown? Yeah, maybe
like
we
the
saw the
thing.
same. Or there's 2 pit bulls that are like opposite of each other, and then if they meet, they like cancel each other.
They're like
out.
the Olsen twins on Full House. They just
through some sort of magic they split. And this is what happened: is one is brown.
You
with
actually
white.
only ever see it from one side. It's actually just half a dog.
Oh dear!
Right? There's 2 halves of this
There's
dog.
There's nightmare
that are
material,
around, right?
Can you see inside the dog from the other half?
If you're on the other side, but it never lets you get to the other side. No. If you get to the other side, it has to kill you.
Oh God!
You
should write this horror novel.
Sounds like the worst fucking horror story. Unless there's like clowns, it's a bad horror story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to rag on Stephen King, but my God, some of his plots are like, you're like, that sounds so stupid.
But when you've written like 400 books, it's kind of, you just eventually.
But and then it sells like mad, and he's like, well,
I'm rich.
Somebody thought it was a great idea.
Right? Somebody liked it. All right. I think it's time for the next 10 questions.
Okay.
Of 20 questions with the dub on our Get to Know the Dub segment. Question number 11. How long can you hold your breath?
I can't hold it long. Like 30 seconds, if that.
Okay. Number 12. Saddest Disney animated movie.
Saddest Disney animated movie. Yeah, I think probably Bambi.
Really? Mine's Up. Because the first 10
Up
minutes
is pretty
of Up
hard.
is ridiculously, like...
I saw Bambi when I was a kid, though, so it kind of, like, sticks with me, I think. Anyway.
All right. 13. Would you rather be dipped in acid or dipped in lava?
Oh, my God. Probably lava. I mean, just so, like, people be like, how did he die? Well, he got dipped in lava.
Like, I
Acid's a loaded thing right now, and you hear the horrible stories that come out of Middle East countries when they throw acid at people for, I don't know.
True, you might survive the acid. You're not surviving the lava.
You know, I feel horrible, but I think that's why.
That's why I would rather the lava too, because like that uncertainty of whether or not I'm going to live while I'm being burnt alive by acid, and I'm sitting there thinking I might survive this. Fuck, right? God. But the lava, it's like by the time you've touched the lava, you've got like 3rd-degree burns on 100% of your body anyway. At that point, like you're dying. There's no surviving that.
What a macabre question, man. Holy hell.
Hey, man. That's how we roll here.
Fair enough.
Number 14. Robin Williams. Drama or comedy?
Oh, my God. I love Robin Williams. If I was to choose, I'd say drama, because that one still surprises me. Some of the roles, like him in Insomnia, is unreal. Or 1 Hour Photo when he was the creep. Like, come on.
All right.
And then he's just good. But anyway.
15. Best Will Smith movie.
Ali.
All right.
It was a long time ago since I saw it.
As long as you didn't say Men in Black. That's the...
No. Men in Black, the music video was better than the movie.
All right. 16. Worst Will Smith child.
I don't know. Jaden, I guess. I don't really have an opinion about that. I don't know. I've seen Jaden more. I'll just say Jaden because I don't know Willow at all, except she had that Whip My Hair song.
Which was also pretty fucking...
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but I don't know.
All right. Best show hosted by Tom Bergeron.
Oh, Hollywood Squares.
All right. It's not the one I was... that's not one I would have thought of to...
What else is he's hosted tons of things like Dancing with that's him Dancing on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, whatchamacallit, America's Funniest Home Video.
No, see, that's Bob Saget for me. I was again maybe a little before your time, but he was the host of that originally, and yeah. Oh, he may not have been the original host, but that's what I watched.
I'm not sure who was the original host. I feel like game shows are one of those things. I guess AFV is kind of a game show, but game shows are kind of those things where it's like you think this is the first guy to host it, and then you find out it's been going on since the 20s, and you're like, what the shit? Like
it's like you find out that Jeopardy was not originally hosted by Alex Trebek, and you're like, no. She's like, yeah, there's another guy. I don't remember his name, but he was apparently very famous.
All of the hosts that like Family Feud has had over the years, it's like Jesus. There's been like
so many,
and you're like the Home Improvement guy was a host of Family
for a while.
Feud.
Yeah, it's been Steve Harvey for a long time now, though.
Yeah, for a while. He's kind of taking it.
But I remember Louis Anderson.
Yeah,
like the guy with the weird voice.
Yeah, it's insane. All right, 18. Putin versus the Queen. Who wins in a fight?
Just a fist fight?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this isn't even really a contest. Of course Putin wins. The Queen's 90-something. What's she gonna do?
Yeah, but she's a...
I mean, if she had to... I'll give her this. If she got away from him and got to a car that was broken down, she'd be able to fucking fix the car and drive away.
Or drive into him, more likely.
Or drive
into him. It's the Queen, let's be real. She'd just be like, and just run him over.
Again, like finding that out later in life, there's like she could just fix things.
Oh, yeah, the Queen's a boss, man.
Yeah.
I hope she never dies, to be honest. I hope she's just queen for forever.
Yeah. I think monarchy's kind of stupid, but she's likable enough.
Right? Like it doesn't really, there isn't really a monarchy anymore. Like it doesn't do anything, but it's a symbol.
When I'm not thinking about the political impact of there being a monarchy and all that, I like her. She's cool.
All right, 19. Most underrated dictator.
Underrated dictator. Underrated dictator. Is this real or fictional?
Oh, real.
Underrated dictator. Oh my god. These questions. Was Oliver Cromwell technically a dictator? Okay, don't send me any emails or anything. Like my history is, I studied it a bit, but wasn't he for a short time technically a dictator in England?
I mean, I guess the definitions of dictator can be kind of loose. So
right, because you said underrated. Like I can name lots of dictators.
Overrated dictators.
Sure, yeah.
Just the entirety of Russian history. Just they're all kind of overrated. I mean, Alexander the Great. Come on, it was a little. Did he really do that much? I mean,
like Khrushchev. I don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Oliver Cromwell had close to absolute power for a short amount of time, so I'll say him.
All right, I go I don't know. I think Genghis Khan is kind of underrated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about it. Like, you kind of know, everyone knows about how he kind of conquered most of Asia.
Conquered everything, and everyone is just Genghis Khan. What? Oh, yeah. I mean, Lenin though, and you're like, but come on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Genghis Khan would be another one, definitely underrated because I don't know much about him. Right? I've had lots of education, so
there you go.
It either says I don't pay attention or.
And the final question.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of life?
42.
Well, there you go. That's you. You have now gotten to know the dub, local celebrity, the dub, with our 20 questions with the dub.
There it is.
Okay, so something that's bothered me the last, I don't know, couple weeks, I guess, because that's as far back as my memory goes, really. It just cuts off.
You're like a mosquito.
14 days, and I'm like, wait, I'm not dead yet? Oh, I guess, well, start over the next 14 days.
You have more of a memory than the guy from Memento. Well, so that's something.
There we go. It's a start, I suppose. So it's been bugging me over the last little. Why is it all of a sudden cool or in fashion to be an introvert? Like everyone's just declaring everywhere, I'm an introvert. And you see all these videos on Facebook where people are like, are you an introvert? Well, that's not. And Snapchat has these story things where they're like introverts, top 10 introverts. And you're like, why? Why is everyone proud of this now? And I don't think they're grasping the term introvert and what it means. Because if you're on the internet posting about how much of an introvert you are, you're probably not really an introvert.
I think I agree with you on that one. I think there's a problem with irony in that people. It seems like every generation gets more and more ironic about everything they say. So memes are not meant to actually convey truth. They're meant to convey the opposite of it, like irony, right? So no one who's posting things about being an introvert is an introvert, like you say.
Yeah.
But they're not doing it because they think they're an introvert. I don't think they're doing it because it's.
See, I don't know, though.
The secretive, ironic thing to be like, ha ha ha, I'm an introvert. Look at this thing I posted.
See, I don't know, though, because, going to school in media,
yeah,
there was so many people that were and I feel like the age break for this is 20, but everyone that was under the age of 20, and I was lucky enough that I was in a class where the median age was probably 23. So, I really got to see, both ends of the spectrum here.
My class was the same thing, I think.
But I feel like that 20 age break under that, there was so many that are just oh yeah, I'm an introvert and I'm I don't know, there's a word that I'm looking for, but
shy.
Yeah, shy, but anyway, yeah, I don't want to be, and I'm like, you are in media. Like you can't. You don't understand what an introvert is. You go on the radio. That right there is not being an introvert. Like I think we've lost the definition of what an introvert actually is.
Well, and I think there's a lot of people who, there's always this thing that happens where like there seems to be two sides, and then someone says, "Well, what about a middle ground?" So an extroverted introvert,
which makes no sense.
Well, I mean, semantically, maybe not. But imagine somebody who's comfortable, for example, in front of a large crowd of people. And I would say, for example, I'm like this. So if you're like Warren or Dub, give a speech to 100 kids on, I don't know, whatever, anti-drug or whatever. And I'd be like, cool.
On the most underrated
on the most underrated dictator, right? I'd give a speech about Oliver Cromwell. I'd research it, and I'd be nervous because I was like, well, but I would do it, and I'd want to do it, right?
Whereas if you're me, I don't even research. I just walk on stage.
You just wing it, right?
Like,
I have a much harder time meeting someone face to face for the first time than I do with that. I could go, if someone was like, entertain these people, you have nothing. I would rather do that than be. And I think Seinfeld has a joke about this, right? Well, no, never mind, actually. That's something else. But anyway, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather be in front of a crowd of people than talk to somebody face to face.
I mean, that's fair, but do you classify that as an introvert?
I don't know.
I don't think you have to... I don't think there has to be this classification on it.
Maybe
of either you're an introvert or an extrovert. You're just a fucking person. Yeah. Like, it's not... Like, you're an introvert if you are really introverted, and you're an extrovert if you're really extroverted. But most of us are neither of those things.
Fair enough. Just
so you're in this middle ground that's just normal level of... Like, every single person, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, is going to have certain situations where they don't want to interact with people.
Sure.
Or where they really do want to interact with people, right? And it's not this thing that just has to be labeled. Like, that's the thing, too. We're so into labeling all these different things. Like, everyone wants to get away from labeling so many different things, but we want to get into labeling all these mental things. Like, everyone wants to get away from the labeling with pronouns and the labeling with, like, sexual stuff and that, which is fine. But, like, they're substituting that by really wanting to get into labeling all the different mental things that are not so much mental, but, like personality things and that. Like, everyone wants to put a label on all these things now instead.
But, again, what... You kind of said you saw this cross section of age groups in your class, right?
And it's the same section of age that we get to the labeling on the other end too. Like, there's just labels are this big deal to those people, whether it's they want to get rid of them or they want to keep them or they want to add more, whatever it is. It's a big deal to people of that age group of like that 20 and under.
I think part, because I seem to remember being the same, like very similar when I was in that age group. I wanted to be this, I had to be that, whatever those things are, right? In a way that I don't think of myself as in those terms anymore. In that it doesn't matter to me anymore so much that I'm this or that.
The labels in that always existed, but I feel like people are more focused on voicing it and not voicing it and stuff like that now, that I feel like it is going to stick with them longer past the age because of how much of a focus it has become. Because, like, those labels existed when I was in high school and that, but there wasn't the sort of the outlets that there are to make it what it is, like, Tumblr and Snapchat stories, these things that are posting about it, that, Instagram, that everyone's hashtagging all this the stuff, and, fucking Reddit, and like where there's these random subreddits of people that are just labeling themselves as these things and thinking society has it out for them because they've self-labeled themselves as these things that, like, most people wouldn't even... I don't know. It just... I feel like because of those outlets, it kind of sticks harder, and this stuff that's supposed to be gone in high school is now still there because these people don't grow away from it because of all of these high school-like things that are out there.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. The other thing you touched on it. I mean, social media itself is sort of ironic, isn't it? I mean, it's not to say that you can't use the internet to connect with people that you wouldn't have been able to when there was no internet in the way that you can now, right? Mm-hmm. I.e., normally this podcast has a third person. That person's in Ontario.
Right.
You wouldn't have been able to do that 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. You'd have to phone in. And even longer before that, I mean, you wouldn't have that friend anymore. That would have been, when you left Ontario, you would have had to say goodbye to that person for conceivably a long time unless you sent letters or whatever, right? Mm. So you're sharing things about being an introvert in public, but in a sort of strange, skewed version of public that we have now that didn't exist 50 years ago. In that, you know, there was a time when people would gather in the town square or whatever, and they still do, and talk to one another and discuss things. Now you don't do that in the same way. You go on the internet.
Unless you're in Fort St. John, no.
But do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Is that sort of the idea of social has been skewed in a way, and that maybe in that maybe you can be an introvert online and talk about it a lot because you're not actually talking to people. You're spitting things out into a computer world that doesn't actually exist.
How much of it is just cries for attention at that point, though?
I mean, I don't know. There could be that too, and I think that's something that's more difficult to unpack, in a short amount of time that we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that could be part of it too, right? It's just, look at me, I want attention.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that's all it is.
I mean, well, the world's going to shit anyway, so what does it really matter? What does it really fucking...
On that note...
I mean, it just... I don't know. It's... I mean, everyone's dying. We elected a reality TV show star. Well, we didn't, but someone did as leader of the free world.
See, and it's funny you should mention the death thing, because that's another thing that I've heard, that I heard anyway from people in my class who were around that age group. Is this talking about death a lot, right? Like, you're like, I'm dying, I'm dead. How are you feeling today? I'm dead inside. And again, it's irony, right? Where in a way where you're like, then you wonder, like, okay, I mean, this sort of talk maybe in previous generations was, okay, maybe this person has something they want to say, or maybe they're suicidal. Now, it can be meaningless. It's just you venting by being so over the top about it that it just means you're not feeling chipper today. But instead you're like, I'm dead.
Yeah, but I mean it's understandable given that, like I said, Donald Trump's the president. We're all going to die. It's over. That's just that's the beginning of the end right there. The star of Celebrity Apprentice is leading the free world.
Yeah,
it's kind of upsetting.
I have no humorous way to deal with that.
I still struggle to wrap my mind around that fact that Donald Trump is the president of the United States. It just, if you were to go back to 2008 and be like, hey, Donald Trump's the president now, they'd be like, what? You're fucking stupid.
You can go back to the day before the election last year, and I was like, there's no way it's gonna happen. And then it did. I was stunned. I was like, I can't believe.
All right, hear me out on something here. So my theory is that if O.J. Simpson went to jail for murdering his wife and that dude, then Donald Trump would never be the president.
Oh, all right. Explain what.
Because if the O.J. trial never happened the way it did, then Robert Kardashian would have never gotten famous. And if Robert Kardashian never got famous, then the Kardashian kids would never have gotten famous. And reality TV would never have been as big as it was. And therefore, so many people wouldn't know what The Apprentice and The Celebrity Apprentice is. And all of those people that voted for Donald Trump because they know who he is from The Apprentice would have never voted for Donald Trump because they wouldn't have known about him, and Hillary Clinton would be president right now.
Yeah.
So really, it's the Kardashians' fault.
I mean, I'm all right with blaming the Kardashians, but so many other ways the things could have gone off the rails there, right?
But
I'm not saying Barack Obama's a reality TV star, but he sure used social media to his advantage in 2008 in a way that nobody previously had done.
Yeah, but social media would have still been there if it wasn't for the Kardashians. Maybe not Instagram, but the rest of them would have still been there if it wasn't for the Kardashians. But would Donald Trump, would the Apprentice have been as popular as it was if it wasn't for keeping up with the Kardashians and them in general, that clan?
Donald Trump is a puzzle. Like I'm with you. I can't 100% wrap my head around how that happened.
He's certainly intriguing.
I understand the reasons given for it by, name a media outlet, whatever. But I can't believe it happened.
I understand.
And we're 9 months into his presidency.
It's almost been a year.
Or almost 10 months in,
We've almost had a year of Donald Trump as president.
How did this happen? And how has he somehow maintained the level of idiocy from the beginning until now? There was a lull. It seemed like the first 4 or 5 months it was every day, and then it slowed down a bit. It was every second day, and then the last 2-3 weeks, a month, it's come back, and you're like, holy cow.
I mean, people, the last couple months, people have been dying left, right, and center. Natural disasters, more natural disasters, more natural disasters, shootings, all of this stuff, and he's golfing and dedicating trophies to them.
Or getting into angry tweets and
or tweeting things that seem really odd, like warmest concerns. What are you? How do you talk like that? Our president fucked up spelling heel 3 times and had to delete the tweet 3 times because he couldn't spell heel. HEA. That is a 4th grade spelling test word.
Also because coffee.
Oh, fuck. People buy shirts for that.
I mean, I hate to admit laughing about that, but I mean, that was just, again, it was just so crazy that happened. And you're like, what?
I remember that morning and just all of the memes that just instantly flooded the internet. Oh my God. I was at 3 a.m. too. What? I was the only one in this town that was awake when that happened.
Yeah. It was really early, even where he is on the East Coast, I think, that he tweeted that out. He's an early riser, I guess. But
he's always tweeting at 3 a.m. It's insane. He's just, the fucking guy.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that.
Fucking hipsters, man.
Remarkable. And it still lots of remarkable things to happen in that regard, I think. How long does he last?
I'm still waiting for
Does he actually face re-election? If he does he actually win again?
Oh, God, no. I don't think there's any shot that
But that's the thing. Again. You say that, and yet he won the first time.
It's different, though. The first time was... I feel like even now, the people that supported him originally are kind of like, whoa, all right.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have wanted change. It's another thing to have elected an idiot, an actual moron. Yeah. As the president of the free world, as the leader of the free world. This guy has threatened nuclear war on a tiny country 6 times in the last month. He's more focused on a nuclear war in that country than he is on some dude killing 58 people in his own country. It's insane. He's just out to prove himself as better than Hillary still at this point. He doesn't realize he won the election. Everything goes back to, but Hillary. You won. That's over. Be a president. Don't be this.
I still wonder, and we talked about this off air a couple days ago. What are the chances he just quits at some point? Of any president we've been around for. Couldn't you just see him one day, I'm tired of this, I resign. Just give up?
No, because I feel like he's so fucking self-centered that he has to prove himself, and he's going to do whatever it takes to prove that he can do this, even though the whole fucking world knows he can't. But he's out to try to prove people wrong, and I mean, I guess he's done it. Or just proven us really, really right, and it's just some sort of fucked up social experiment. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the whole situation.
It's the whole situation is beyond me.
I'm still waiting for his statements on gun control, because that's gonna be fucking hilarious. He's just gonna be like, whatever his statement is, it's gonna have nothing to do with what people are actually asking, and it's gonna loop back to some other bullshit. And then it's going to distract everyone away from the topic that actually needs to be discussed, because he's fucking so distracting that he's going to pull everyone's attention away and into his stupid bullshit again, like the reality TV show star that he is. And everyone's going to forget about the things that are important, and just start tweeting about how stupid he is again, instead of the actual discussion that needs to happen. But
yeah,
that's at the end of the day, that's why the Republicans wanted him, right? To be a distraction, so that they could push everything under the table without people even realizing that it's been done, because Donald Trump is tweeting about Kafifi.
Yeah, yeah.
And Fox News and fake news. And, yeah, anyway, that's life.
Please tell me of something else we can end on a happier note.
I mean, bunnies.
I like bunnies. They hop around.
I don't think there's a lot of people that dislike bunnies.
Have you ever seen a bunny yawn?
I think so. Yeah.
They're frightening when they yawn, because they open their whole mouth and then you see they're like, ah, and it makes them frightening.
I can't think of bunnies doing anything that's frightening, unless they're those
like the Monty Python bunny or
true.
hare.
Yeah, true.
Oh, are you thinking of the Flemish giant? That's a bunny that's the size of a big dog. If you've never looked those up, they're huge.
That sounds creepy.
So it's not what.
You know what's fucking creepy? Shaved bunnies.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. That's
Shaved
scary
bears.
shit. Shaved anything.
Yeah.
Anything
really.
that has fur. As soon as you shave it, it's like, whoa, that is
shaved rat.
creepy as fuck. Right? Like anything. Aside from like mole rats, because
yeah, I mean they're already shaved rats,
right?
Essentially,
like,
right?
It's you take the fur off of an animal and it's just fucking weird, fucking creepy shit. Do you know there's islands in Japan that are entirely populated by cats?
I've heard this.
Yeah, there's 2 islands in Japan that are just entirely populated by cats.
Like they're feral domesticated cats, or?
Well, people go there to like take pictures of that, and the cats just kind of walk up to them and they're like, "Hey, what's up?"
But that's what I mean. Were they domesticated at some point and somehow ended up there, and then they're...
No, I think it's just they're born to the it's just like their lineage. They keep having more cat kittens and that. But
happen?
Like cats are one of the only animal that are domesticated from birth. Like they domesticated themselves. Like you can take a cat off the street and put it in your house and it'll figure shit out. Like it's not like an adult cat. Like cats are completely domesticated just as they are. They'll just roam your house and be like, all right, this is my life now. And it's, yeah, like I actually read like a study or something on the way that it happened. And they're like, yeah, like cats evolved like 1,500 years ago to just be, this is like, they're domesticated. This is how they are. You put a litter box in front of them and they're like, all right, I guess this is where I shit now.
Yeah.
And they just...
Yeah, that's interesting.
Which is, it's so fucking weird too, that like you can just take this thing that was just born and knows nothing about this world, bring it into your house and put it in front of a box and be like, you shit there. And it's like, yeah, I shit here. Like, yeah. And it just like, it just knows, like it learns that, like it, right off the bat. Everyone talks about how impressive it is that dogs can learn all these tricks and that. I think the most impressive thing is that a cat just fucking knows that that's where it's supposed to shit as soon as you put it there. Like, just instinctually, I guess I'm shitting in this box now. Like,
that is remarkable when you think about it.
Right? Like, take a human. We have to fucking potty train kids, and they're supposed to be the smartest fucking things on the... Well, I guess dolphins are technically supposed to be smarter.
But I know
like,
what you're saying.
The second smartest things on this planet, and we have to teach them how to fucking shit in toilets. If you take a human and throw it into a cat's natural, or formerly natural, I guess, because they're all domesticated now... But if you throw it into wherever cats lived, a jungle or whatever, and you're like, here, learn, it's gonna fucking sit there and go, guess I die. Like, it's not gonna fucking deal with that shit as a baby, whereas a kitten is just like, yeah, this is, all right, you show me where to eat, you show me where to shit, and that's about it, we're good.
fascinating. It's interesting how cats and dogs, and I know they're different, but like how cats and dogs and humans have evolved together now. They're at such a point that like most dogs and most cats rely on humans.
It's at a point where we walk into and this is weird to actually think about it. It's a point where we walk into someone's house and this random animal runs up to us and we're like, "Oh, hey!" And it's like it's just an expected thing. Like it's there. This like, dog or this cat.
Behaviors like that, or like a dog. Like I learned this. Dogs, I guess to look another dog in the eye, if you're or wolves or whatever, it's an intimidation thing. So even if I hold my dog too close to my face, she won't look directly at me. But allegedly, dogs have evolved because they know that, I guess, from watching humans hold their babies, that one way you establish a relationship with another human is by looking them in the eye. And dogs would have never done this before, but now my dog always looks me in the eye. She has to be far away to do it, but she'll stare up at me, and apparently it's because they're mimicking human children looking at their parents. Right?
Apparently, dogs just really want to be humans. Like apparently that's like an actual study that they did with dogs.
They just love us so much.
Dogs just really want to be us. So like anything they see us do that they're not a part of, they get upset and they want to be a part of that, and that's what they want to be. So they just kind of watch us and mimic what we do and try to become us.
Interesting.
With 4 legs. Whereas cats don't give a flying fucking shit.
Yeah,
cats are just like I'm gonna do me and
well,
you.
That's
do
what I like
you.
about cats, right? Is they're independent of you. Like they live in your house and you get stuff. Like they're cute and you can pet them, and it makes you feel better if you want to pet them. Like you know whatever science releases chemicals in your brain or whatever, But then, they have their own lives where they do their own stuff around the house. Whereas dogs, they just...
Dogs completely rely on you.
They do. They follow you around. They need you to feed them. They want you to pet them. They want you to take them outside. A cat can be fully independent. They like when you feed them.
I feel like what you just said is like the perfect definition of a cat versus a dog. The dog wants you to pet it. You want to pet the cat.
Yeah.
Like it's not... The
cats will enjoy it, but they're not...
They don't crave
most
it.
Cats don't. Yeah, most cats aren't spending their whole day trying to find you to get pets.
Right. They spend their day sleeping.
They do. And they do whatever it is they do.
Yeah.
I didn't have cats when I was a kid. When I was a little older, my parents had cats. And just watching what they do, I'm like, what do? They look like they're wandering around like they have things they have to do. In a way, the dog's just like, oh, pets. Yeah. Let's go outside. Pets. The cat's like, no, I'm going in this room for a while. Why? I don't know.
Every time I see a cat, I just think, God, that must be a boring existence. Just like most of the time, they just lay there and they sleep and they wake up and they go, is it time for food? No. Do I have to shit? No. I'm back to sleep.
I think cats are philosophers. This is my theory. Dogs they just love you. That's all they know is love. They just love their human companions. Cats, I feel like they could talk. They'd have interesting things. Because sometimes they sit at the window and they look outside. It's like they are the pinnacle of the life of leisure. Because they just sit there and think and gaze at the universe and go, this beauty.
The last point I want to make on this and in general, because we're coming up on running out of time, is so did you hear the story last week about the people that were adopting the dogs from Chernobyl?
No. So apparently, I didn't hear this.
Apparently there's these dogs that wandered out of like the black zone in Chernobyl. Like, okay, so the way like the circle of like the whatchamacallit, zone of zone of truth. No. The zone of whatever it's called. There's 3 stages. There's one stage where it's like, yeah, you can live here if you want, but like, right?
Yeah.
And it's mostly just old people that didn't want to abandon their houses and stuff. And then there's like the second level, which is like tourists can come here and look at shit and that, but you only stay for a little bit and then you leave and I don't know, never come back. But like, so there's that one, and then there's the middle level that's still like,
Yeah, it's not fit for human habitation.
Yeah,
it's
and like
off.
people still work there on like basically just building stuff around the zone so that people
and maintaining the sarcophagus and whatnot.
And that shit. But like they go there and they strictly monitor them. Like they're like 3 days on, 4 days off. Like strictly type deal. Like they're very closely monitored, and you have to be wearing like special suits and that to go in there and stuff. So apparently these animals wandered from the second zone and then came into like that third zone area and started like integrating with the people and stuff, and apparently people have adopted these dogs and that are like these irradiated dogs essentially from Chernobyl. So like they're not like, obviously, because dog lives, like lifespans, they're not dogs that were immediately affected by the explosion. They're like the descendants of these dogs.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask.
That were like raised in this environment that is like,
wow.
And they come out, and apparently these dogs have kind of like regressed to like not be like, it's more difficult to train them, and they don't really interact with humans as much, and they like they kind of try to get away from us in that. And it relates back to the fact that that entire ecosystem obviously humans have been removed from it, right? So these dogs that they're adopting, they're trying to like train them like real dogs and that, and these dogs want nothing to do with it because they don't understand, like they don't know what humans are, right?
Well, let's think how many generations back would be. When did Chernobyl? That was like the 80s.
86. 88 was when the exclusion zone went up.
We're 30 years on. If a dog, let's say, average lives 7 years, and it's 30 years later, we're looking at.
I feel like 7 years is a low.
Okay, well, let's say 10. So we're into the third or fourth generation of dogs, right? That have been essentially feral because humans left.
Yeah.
I could see that they haven't been able to depend on humans in so long that
there's a bunch of studies that they've done too on like that area, and like everyone expects like an area of that close to a nuclear disaster like that for the ecosystem to be negatively affected by everything, right? But like all of the recent studies that people have done on things are like, this is like a blossoming environment. Like this has been incredibly positively affected by this, not because of the fucking nuclear radiation, but because we've removed humans from the ecosystem.
Because suddenly humans aren't there, fucking everything up.
Right. So now there's like these all these plants are like growing better, and like the trees are producing a higher percentage of oxygen, and like there's these animals are like flourishing in this environment and shit, and it's all because we took humans out of the equation, and these animals are now prosperous and like healthier than most animals outside. Like obviously there's still that inner circle area where nothing grows, and like it's still too irradiated for things to live in that, and there's these weird like, apparently the only things that live inside of that area, like that zone of it, are birds. Apparently they can handle the radiation.
Interesting.
And like I think, and don't quote me on this one, I think it might, like science might say it has something to do with like their hollow bones and shit. But
like maybe they don't absorb as much radiation as other animals.
Like you can't really study it too much because they're fucking birds, right?
Yeah.
Like
that's interesting.
And it's kind of hard to catch birds when you're only allowed to spend a half an hour in this area where they're living, right? But there's aside from like that inner circle, like all of the like that secondary circle where still nobody actually lives, is like a prosperous environment where it's like better than anywhere else on Earth. Like it's fucking weird shit. Aside from the fact that they all still kind of have traces of radiation and that in them.
Interesting.
But, like not harmful to human levels.
Yeah,
like they can adopt these dogs and they're not going to kill them, but the dogs aren't going to live as long as a normal domesticated dog would, right? Because eventually they're going to succumb to some form of radiation poisoning, right?
Yeah.
That's some scary shit too. Just for the record, that like I saw that study and I decided I'm gonna look at some Chernobyl stuff, and holy fuck, some of the like firsthand accounts and that are like Jesus. Like,
do you ever see any photos from? I remember finding this website once, and this person maybe wasn't in the black zone. It might have been the next zone, but like. I have this little interest in what do they call it? Urban decay.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you see photos of Detroit where people have abandoned it and like libraries and stuff. But yeah, somebody apparently on his motorcycle got into a part of this where you could see like houses and stuff and it going back to nature and whatnot. Fascinating pictures. Fascinating. I feel like he got closer than that second zone, but that seems unlikely now.
The black zone isn't it's not a very large portion of it. It's just kind of the immediate area of the facility, and then the little area around that they call like the red forest, which is like when the explosion happened, all the trees that, because it's where Chernobyl, the plant, I should say, actually is, because Chernobyl is a city too. That's not
but
where
the plant wasn't.
The plant was in this Palpit, something like that, I think is the name of the city.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So the plant is there, and it's so there's that Chernobyl plant, and it's kind of surrounded, or was surrounded, by a forest, right? And I guess after it, like the explosion and then the fallout, all of the trees in that forest turned red.
Wow.
Like from the nuclear
I'd have to look this up. I didn't know
there's pictures of the red trees and that from like overhead views and stuff before it. So like all the trees turned red over a little bit of time. And when they were first like blocking everything off and that, they were like, these trees are pumping out like radioactive oxygen, and it's like mixing with the other oxygen, and like, this is bad. And so they were like, well, let's burn it down.
So they've since
they burnt. Yeah, there's no vegetation in the black zone because it doesn't grow now, and because they burnt down what was there. But like they burnt it down, and like the smog and that like came up from burning this down was like insane apparently, or something. But there's that forested area around it. So like the black zone is kind of just the factory and the red forest area, or I shouldn't say factory. It's not really a factory. Plant.
The plant,
the nuclear plant and the thing. But there's like firsthand accounts from people that, because like the only people that died right away from the explosion were people that were flying helicopters over top. They crashed after the explosion because of like the shockwaves from the explosion or whatever, right? But nobody inside the plant died from the explosion. They all died from lethal doses of radiation, and they all died, like a lot of them died within a couple days. Some of them died within a year. I think there's like 2 that like lived till like 95 or something, like 1995, not 95 years old.
All the people who built the sarcophagus live?
Yeah, like like all the people that did the stuff afterwards were like they were protected enough that they're kind of okay, and they monitor it really closely and shit, right, to make sure you're not going to die, right? And plus that stuff wasn't built until 2 years after the explosion. So by
then it had already
and like not only those people, but people were still working in the plant up until 2000. Like that was still a functioning electrical plant until the year 2000. It's just not, what's it called? It's, I want to say pylon, but like the number 4, whatever it was, the one that blew up. Aside from that one, like I think number 3 was the last one that they shut down, and they shut it down in 2000. And the rest, there was the 3 other parts of the plant that were all still running. So people were still going there and working. They just weren't living there, right? But like the firsthand accounts are like people were like, oh yeah, we went back in to try to save other people, and like there's like one guy who received like the highest Ukrainian like honor that like a civilian can receive, but he died like 10 days after the thing because of but he like apparently went back in, and there was these 2 like important higher ups or whatever. So he went to he apparently went from like the 50th level, which is like the highest level, all the way down to the first level to the control room. And he saw, because on the 50th level you could see like, I guess the rods like came up and like hit the top and got seized and then exploded from the top. So you could see like the roof collapse from the top, but like if you were in like the middle area, you couldn't see that. Right, so this guy who was up on the 50th floor was like, he saw that shit. So he's like, holy shit. And like, I guess he heard reports where the guy who was in charge didn't think, like he thought that it was still stable, that there was just like a gas explosion, right? That this thing was still operational. So he didn't, and apparently he was sending out reports to people saying it's still functioning. This is what we have to do. Pump in more coolant, which was a part of the problem too, because they kept pumping water in. And if anyone knows anything about how fire works, water on top of, gas-based fires doesn't help.
Do anything, yeah.
It kind of makes it worse, right? So the guy who was up on the 50th level apparently didn't have any way of communicating back to him. So this dude who was on the 50th level and wasn't in a lethal, really, dose area, ran all the way down to number one, like floor one, putting himself through radiation at that point, because like I think it was like level 34 and 35 or something were the most dangerous levels. And like he goes down the spiral staircase through all of these levels down to the first level and reports to the guy and says, dude, the roof collapsed. Like there's an actual like physical explosion. This isn't just a gas explosion. And the guy still didn't believe him, apparently. And he was like, he still thought it was stable or functioning or something. And he's like, the guy he reported this to sent this guy who just ran down from the 50th floor to go and save these other two people that were on the 35th level, which was the most
irradiated. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he sent him up there to help them out, and they couldn't get the door to stay open. So because it was on like emergency lockdown mode, right? So he like pushed the door out and like held his hands under the wall to hold the door open, sitting there being irradiated to help these guys get out, to let these guys get out. And then like, as soon as like they got out or something, he like let go and started vomiting out his guts and shit. And they like rushed him to medical and stuff, and he died like 5 days later or something from lethal radiation.
The highest civilian honor.
Yeah, like he got this huge, like he had like burns on 100% of his body or something. God. And he was like, he apparently had the most radiation levels that any human has ever sustained, right? And lived for like 5 days with it or something. Yikes. But the worst part to me is that of all these people that were doing this shit and going back and saving people, and that's the thing too, it's like as bad of a story as it is that it all happened, it's kind of heartwarming to read through all of the accounts of what people were doing, because everyone that got irradiated was like, I'm going back to save this guy. And they were like, yo, they'd meet up in the control room and just be like, yo, where's this guy? And they'd be like, I don't know, where's this guy? And he'd be like, I think he's over here. You want to come? And they're like, yeah, let's go save him or whatever. And they'd go and try to save these people and that. And like, it was like and they're not like, these aren't first responders or something that are used to doing something like this. These are power plant employees that are like, let's go save this guy out of just pure camaraderie or whatever, right? And that's pretty cool. That like, despite the fact that there's the sad underlying fact that every one of them died, but like they were risking their own lives, knowing too, because these are power plant employees, so they know that this radiation is probably going to kill them, but they're like, we're gonna go back and try to save these guys, right? And that's kind of cool. Aside from the douchebag that was in charge, who actually went to jail for 10 years afterwards, but.
So he lived and went to jail.
Oh, yeah. The guy that was feeding the false information and telling them that things were still okay and telling them to keep working and keep feeding water in and stuff like that, he ended up going to jail for 10 years. And he didn't die until 1995.
Wow.
Like
good. Fucking prick.
He lived quite a bit afterwards. But that guy was a bit of a douche. Because like it was also until I think it was until like 2003, it was another guy that received the brunt of the blame for it, saying that like he was incompetent or something, that he fucked up and was saying that everything was okay, but really he was just being fed information by this other guy who was his superior. And apparently it didn't come up until 2003 that there were accounts of that guy that was getting blamed for so long for the brunt of it, who died like too quickly to even realize that he was being blamed for things. But like apparently he was arguing with them, and he apparently, because he was like the foreman that was on duty or something during the test, and apparently he said to this guy we shouldn't run this test. Like the temperature is wrong. It's too hot. We have to turn off safety precautions to run this test. I don't think we should do this right now. We should do it another time. And the guy threatened him and was like, no, do this now or I'll get someone else to do it. And he was like, fuck, okay, I guess we're doing it though. And despite him arguing it, so he went through with it. And then afterwards, when the initial explosion was happening, he was like, we need to do this and shut this down and stop this from happening now because otherwise shit's going to go wrong. And the guy was like, no, keep going. It's fine. And so he did what he said and he kept going with it. And then even further after that, when the whole thing where it was happening, where an explosion had happened and the other guy was feeding him information too, telling him, no, the rest of the, because neither of them were in a position where they could see the rest of it that had exploded, right? So he was like, no, it's fine. The rest of it hasn't exploded. Just cool it down, feed water in. And this guy, so he was feeding him this information. And then this guy was relaying the information to everyone else, which is why everyone kind of piled on him, saying that he was giving out this information. But really, he was just being given the information by this other guy. And
he didn't know, he couldn't have known any better, really.
Right. Like he was being ordered by this other guy with the threat of losing his job to do it.
Just following orders.
Right?
Holy hell, man. Did you read a book about this or something?
No, just Wikipedia stuff.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's...
make sure you're listening to this podcast for an in-depth historical analysis of
the Chernobyl disaster.
By Jeff Blagden.
For some reason, in 2017...
Damn.
October 6th, 2017. Let's get real deep about Chernobyl.
That was impressive.
But yeah, so... Chernobyl dogs being adopted. That's
that's where we came from.
That's how we got here. So
look up those if you haven't. Look up those pictures. They're fucking fantastic. Yeah. I love stuff like that.
I love the before and after pictures of the Chernobyl thing. And there's during pictures too. Like there are pictures out there of while the thing was in explosion mode and that. Yeah. So they're I mean sad, but
sure
cool pictures to look at, right? To the eye. But so I feel like you said you wanted something uplifting to end on. That wasn't really uplifting aside. I mean, okay, so the thing that was uplifting about it was that the humans, like the human camaraderie there of them going back and helping each other out and like knowing that that this action is probably going to kill them. And I mean, I suppose a lot of them were like, we're probably going to die anyway, like at the level of radiation we've received, but like, let's go and do our best to help them. And like they'd go back and save the people. So that's kind of an uplifting.
I think so. Also that they're adopting the irradiated dogs.
Right?
Though they're safe to be adopted.
Yeah, but, they're safe to be adopted, but they're not... Like, there's more danger in the fact that they don't know how to deal with humans than there is in the fact that they're radiated. I still wouldn't want to get bitten by one. Like, let's be real here. I wouldn't be opposed to petting one, but I don't really want to be bit by an irradiated dog.
Because then you turn into Dog Man.
Right?
Be like...
I mean...
I don't know what he did. He has a long tongue.
Turn into Super Dog?
And he... I don't know. What other things?
Becomes the Ukrainian, whatchamacallit, bear?
Oh, man. the sun... The
Ukrainian sun bear.
The sun bear with that horrible tongue.
He turns into the Ukrainian sun
bear. Imagine if those are roaming around in that zone B. Oh, God. Irradiated sun bear.
The Yanguans from Fallout.
Oh, man.
Because of that. Anyway, I think that's all the time we got for today. That was, we'll talk about the irradiated sun bears next time.
I feel
like that's the name for the podcast, the irradiated sun bears.
That sounds like a good name for a band too. Hey,
yeah, it could be.
Ladies and gentlemen, the irradiated sun bears.
There you go. If you want to know who to send the royalties for on that, you send that to the Dub.
Thank you.
And you'll get the royalties for the bands. That is all for today. We got to know the Dub a little better with our 20 questions that he kind of answered some of a little bit. So until next time, thanks for listening to the Podvault.